What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Akame Got Killed episode 20. And to be honest with you, this episode, it was definitely disappointing. Now, I am a manga reader, and even though I'm not as type as some people might be, I am definitely disappointed in this. And I gotta say, if they're doing this now and we have 4 episodes left, then I'm definitely not as hyped or as excited as I used to be. But the episode itself, it starts off where we have the people in the Capitol. They're all meeting up and talking, and obviously, they're talking about that guy who was like running that religion, they're like talking about him, but right now, they learn that like more people from the Capitol, they have now joined the Revolutionary Empire, and we see now that there was this one guy, this commander-in-chief, Budou, yeah, I believe that's how you say his name, and this guy right here, he is a beast. He is like freaking huge, and we actually do see him in action, later on, but we see now this guy, he was so determined, to protect the capital, because, so far, everyone in his family had kind of like served the empire, and this guy right here, he would be no different. He will cut down anyone or anything that will like bring harm to the capital. So obviously, this guy right here, he's a monster, and we even learned that the only person that can like actually match this guy's strength is F-Def, and we seen how strong S-Def is, so it's definitely safe to assume that like these two are on the same level. But then we have the Prime Minister. He like brings out his son, and we see now his son is now in charge of this group, but we have no idea what this group is because we like never see their face, and it's definitely safe to assume that that these guys are in Wild Hunt, which is the name of the group he that he runs in the manga. So this group right here is like a fodder group that they have like no real importance, but they do follow him though, and that really is important because Shura here, he plays a major part in the episode. And so we see now that, with the guy now in charge, especially of his own group, and now we'll like have his father, watching him, Shura here, it's like playing his own thing because, one day he does want to surpass his father and take over, the prime minister role, becoming the emperor, the emperor himself. So this guy's like always scheming, and like one day he would even betray his own father, and that right there go to show you, how big a crap he is. But then we have like all these soldiers, leaving the capital, and we have Lubbock or Luba and Tatsumi, watching them because now, Night Raid, with like all these soldiers gone, they could go in there and kill the prime minister because that right there is like the biggest villain in the series. So if they can kill him, then that right there, like would be great. And so we see now that while Tatsumi and Luba are leaving, we go to Mime and Leone, who are like in the sewers, and so we have Leone questioning Mime about what's going on with like her and Tatsumi, and of course Mime will deny it, but everybody can like definitely notice that like things have been very different between Mime and Tatsumi since they kind of had like that moment like after Mime, had killed Chelsea, and so right now they aren't really confirmed, to be a couple just yet. But obviously, there is something, like going on between them. So that was there at the start at least, and we have Leone, teasing her, and at one moment, like at first you would think she was joking when she said that like if Mime was going to act that way, then Leone, would take Tatsumi for herself, and then we learned that when she said that she was pretty serious, but Mime was like still blowing her off here, and then we go back to Tatsumi and Luba, who like talking as well, and Luba, questions Tatsumi about Mime as well, and even he gets all flustered and worked up. But there was like this one scene where we have Luba, asking Tatsumi what will he do, after the party is over, because if they kill the prime minister, then that right there pretty much means that Night Raid and the army, they'll win. And so what Luba plans to do, he actually wants to like continue. He actually, wants to continue running a bookstore and like build that into like his own, like little empire of money. And he said that when the time is right, he will propose to an agenda, and so that right there was kind of nice. That Lubbock it's like wants to go that far, and especially like give her a good life like that. That right there was like definitely nice of him. And so then we see that like Susano, Akame, and Agenda, they were like meeting these underground soldiers, and eventually Tatsumi and Lubbock meets one as well. And we see now that they even sneak into like the castle or the mansion, whatever, wherever where the prime minister is. And there was like this one woman who like leading them there, but eventually when they go to this meeting spot, we see now that the people that they were supposed to meet up with, they were actually killed, and we see that like some kind of like weird freaky experiment was like going on inside their body where like made them blow up, and that right there was brutal because the way they look, it was creepy. You just tell that like like they were definitely tortured in their final moments. But I do wonder, how they blow up. Like even though that right there, like for plot purposes, I do wish that it was kind of explained, because that right there would have made so much sense to me. But obviously now we have Shura and his group. They had now surrounded Tatsumi and Lubbock, and right away Shura here, he recognized Tatsumi from where he sent after to the island. And so we see that when Tatsumi learned about how he was the one behind those danger beasts, and when he asked him, like, why was he doing all this, we learn now that the only reason why Shura does what he does is because he's like really bored, and that right there it set Tatsumi off. And so eventually, he charged in there, but then we see like the powerful ball of lightning, like rain down, and that right there is how Budou appeared, the commander in chief. And so this guy, even though he's old, he is a beast, because we see now that with like one punch, even though Tatsumi blocked it, he was still like he got hurt by it. And even when he had put on in Curso, Tatsumi here was like still kind of struggling a bit. Oh, I also forgot that there was this one scene with the Jaegers, and we see now that like pretty much Run, Wave, and Kurame, those those three are the only ones left now, and we have Run here making food for them. But when Wave and Run were like talking a bit, Kurome, she just wolfed down her food. To be honest, I don't even know if she chewed it, but like she had 1 in seconds, and when Run gave it to her, she like dropped her plate and she collapsed. So obviously, even though Kurome is alive, she is still not at 100%. To be honest though, it does seem like she is getting worse, because we have not really seen her at her best, again yet. So Kurome is still struggling a bit, but at least for now she's alive. And that right there was like pretty much all of the Jaegers that we saw, besides S-Def of course, who was like once again going beast mode, because we saw now she had froze like these rebels. Cause like she had frozen completely in this massive block of ice, and and she just turned and walked away because her job was done. She was just that quick about it. But now we go to Tatsumi versus Budou, the commander in chief, and you would think Tatsumi would get wiped out because this guy is a beast. And obviously, he is the second or first strongest, because we have no idea who's stronger between him or F-Step. So right now they're even. But obviously, he is like one of the strongest characters in the verse. And we do have Tatsumi putting up a pretty decent fight against him. Like the commander here, he had respected Tatsumi so much that he also wanted to know his name. But then when we go to Lubbock and Shura, who had their own fight. And I gotta say, Shura here, with his Imperial Arm, it is a bit overpowered, because he can teleport literally anywhere. And we see that, there's like this one scene where Lubbock had this like bright idea to actually, like to get airborne, because he thought it was impossible to, to put a mark there, because that right there is how symbolic works. But he actually put one on the on the area itself as well, and that right there allowed him to get up there. But we do learn that like normally it would require a considerable amount of energy for Shura here to teleport like over and over again. But he had like some kind of drug, and we have no idea where he got it from. But this drug here, it allows him to teleport anywhere, and that right there is a bit overpowered. But I do wonder who made that drug, and I do wonder how long it lasts, because we could have Lubbock like try to like to stall him out to see when that drug would run out, and that right there would have made the fight like last a lot longer between them. But the fights, I gotta say, like they were like decent at best, but they did feel like very rushed because like we had Lubbock on the ropes most of the time, and then Tatsumi, I felt like he didn't really get that much screen time, but then again he was done after the commander had did like some kind of wide area attack, and Tatsumi pretty much got like taken out from that. But then we see like that this girl that was supposed to be part of the army, of the army, like Tatsumi and Lubbock, she actually betrayed them and she took hold of Lubbock, and we see now that like Shura, this piece of crap, he actually cut her neck. But the only reason why she betrayed them is because her mother and father, I'm guessing like they were in prison, and so she wanted them freed, and that's why she betrayed them. But even when we have Lubbock getting like super pissed because her parents were like already killed, we see now that he made like this string barrier, and he actually cut off Shura's hand. And that right there, I'm not gonna lie, because I, like personally, I hate Shura, especially from the manga. I hate him. That right there I did like, but we see now that like that Lubbock, he could not finish him off because we see that the girl, she was not dead yet, and she like stabbed him right in the back, and that right there was messed up because she died for nothing because her parents were like already dead. And we see now that like Shura, he actually revealed his Imperial Arm hidden ability, and it like teleported Lubbock in like space or something. It was definitely a different dimension. But we see now that with those strings that Lubbock had, he had wrapped them around, Shura's arm and pulled them in there. And so that right there, that right there was cool. But then they, actually reused the same killing method that like Lubbock used, to kill that one demon. And that right there, I gotta say, I didn't like too much because like to me personally, I feel that if you're going to, throw in filler or change stuff around, then at least be creative with it. Don't use something that be like already seen before, especially when that right there was kind of recent. And so we see now that once again he like used that spear and he threw it into Shura's chest, and eventually he wrapped those threads around his heart, and that right there allowed him to kill him. But we see now that like Shura, he was just so determined to live because like to him, he found this world boring, and if the guy was emperor, he could have changed that, but now he would like never get that chance because Lubbock killed him, and with his death, his ability it like faded out, and so now we have them both falling, and Lubbock can't save himself because not only does he not have any strength, but like his Imperial armor is also falling apart. And that right there, I, like for some reason I thought for sure that like maybe he'll be saved, but then we see now that his body actually fell on all these spears, and Tatsumi saw that, and that right there, which is so messed up, and that right there, was the end for Lubbock. But I feel that his death, it could have been so much more meaningful or impactful if he didn't fall on those spears. But sadly, that right there was the way it played out. And now with Tatsumi captured, we have the commander here. He was like telling the prime minister what happened to his son, and at first we like see the minister. We like see him carrying at first, but that right there definitely did not last for long because all he said was like, "Oh well," like he didn't care at all, and that right there goes to show you how horrible he is. And I definitely can make for the guy that died because he did not even give a crap about his own son. So that right there, what does it tell you? And so now we see with like Tatsumi captured, they want to make they want to use him, to send a message to the army. And so right now they want to give him a public execution. But then we have Estef coming in there, and in her head she said she would not let anybody else have Tatsumi. So right now Estef could be plotting something. We have no idea. but we have Akame, Mime, and Agenda. They see the posters, that were telling them about Tatsumi, and then we have the goggles that like Lubbock was like wearing as well. Those were also there, and so now they like also know about him. But the episode itself, for like me not like taking out the manga side out of me, these fights were like decent at best because they were very rushed. Lubbock's death wasn't all that. Shura's death was like very well deserved. So I'm gonna give the episode probably a 6 out of 10. But of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. And I will see you all next time.